This is day 11 of Advent of Cyber 2024, and this challenge is called If You'd Like to WPA, press the start key. The much awaited Sockmas of Wereville Town is just days away. Glitch, the unsung hero, is closing all the doors to Mayor Malware's malicious intentions one by one. However, there is still much more to do. McSkitty took a thoughtful breath. Mayor can still find his way in. Glitch smiles confidently. I think I know the last technique he relies on to get into the networks. McSkitty stands up from her chair with a surge of excitement. Let me guess. It's a notorious way to get into your network. A Wi-Fi attack. Glitch nods decisively. Exactly. Let's be one step ahead of the mayor. So the learning objectives is to understand what Wi-Fi is, explore its importance for an organization, learn the different Wi-Fi attacks, and learn about WPA and WPA2 cracking attacks. So for this challenge, we will need to start the machine and also go to the top and start the attack box. What is Wi-Fi? The importance of the internet in our lives is universally acknowledged, without the need for any justification. Wi-Fi is the technology that connects our devices to the global network, the internet. This seamless connection to the internet appears to be wireless from our devices, which is true to some extent. Our devices are connected wirelessly to the router, which acts as a bridge between us and the internet, and the router is connected to the internet via a wired connection. Connect to Wi-Fi, we turn it on from our devices, and it lists all the available Wi-Fi networks around us. This list comprises the access points, often the routers, that are broadcasting Wi-Fi signals with a unique SSID network name. You can connect to any of these if you know the correct password, also known as a pre-share key. Once you have successfully connected to a network via Wi-Fi, you'll be assigned an IP address inside that network, which will uniquely identify you and help you connect with other devices. It is just like becoming a member of a family assigned with a name that the whole family trusts. The image below shows an example of what connecting to an OK443S SSID requesting a PSK looks like on a typical Windows machine. Before this discussion on Wi-Fi, it seems like a door to our internet access, and every other Wi-Fi connection forms a family of devices. Would you allow somebody you don't really know to become part of your family? Not that easy, probably because of the privilege a family member has. Nobody from outside should ever get those. Wi-Fi has a pivotal role in organizations. Most organizations rely on the internet for their business functioning. Using a wired connection for all employees to connect to the internet raises concerns about cost, efficiency, and flexibility at work. So organizations use Wi-Fi for their networks to connect their employees to the internet. As the employees connect to the organization's network, they form a family of interconnected devices. The devices inside the network can communicate with each other and request or respond to any request. Organizations tend to recruit trustworthy and professional employees to avoid any misuse of their privileges inside the network. However, a malicious actor from outside the organization could still see the broadcasted Wi-Fi SSID of the organization's network when they turn their Wi-Fi on. This may not seem to be a problem as the attacker doesn't know the password, but the attacker actually has some other plans as well. Attacks on Wi-Fi. There are several techniques attackers use to exploit Wi-Fi technology. The techniques discussed here are solely for educational purposes. Unauthorized attempts to access or compromise networks are illegal and may lead to severe legal consequences. With that in mind, here are some of the most popular techniques. Evil twin attack. In this attack, the attacker creates a fake access point that has a similar name to the one of your trusted Wi-Fi access point. Of course, it cannot be the exact same. If the trusted Wi-Fi's name is Home Internet, the attacker creates a fake Wi-Fi access point named Home Internet with two N's there, or something similar that is difficult to differentiate. The attack starts with the attacker sending deauthentication packets to all the users connected to their legitimate Wi-Fi access points. The users would face repeated disconnections from the network after this. With frustration, the users are likely to open the Wi-Fi access points list for troubleshooting and will find the attacker's Wi-Fi with almost similar name and with greater signal strength. They would go to connect to it, and once connected, the attacker could see all their traffic to or from the internet. Rogue access point. This attack's objective is similar to that of the evil twin attack. In this attack, the attacker sets up an open Wi-Fi access point near or inside the organization's physical premises to make it available to users with good signal strength. The users inside the organization may accidentally join this network if their devices are set to connect automatically to open Wi-Fi. The attacker can intercept all their communication after the users connect to this rogue access point. WPS attack. The Wi-Fi protected setup was created to allow users to connect to their Wi-Fi using an 8-digit PIN without remembering complex passwords. However, the 8-digit PIN is vulnerable in some networks due to its insecure configuration. The attack is made by initiating a WPS handshake with the router and capturing the router's response, which contains some data related to the PIN and is vulnerable to brute force attacks. Some of the captured data is brute forced, and the pin is successfully extracted along with the pre-shared key. WPA and WPA2 cracking. Wi-Fi protected access was created for secure wireless communication. It uses a strong encryption algorithm. However, the security of this protocol is heavily influenced by the length and complexity of the pre-shared key. While cracking WPA, attackers start by sending deauthentication packets to a legitimate user of the Wi-Fi network. Once the user disconnects, they try to reconnect to the network, and a four-way handshake with the router takes place during this time. Meanwhile, the attacker turns its adapter into monitor mode and captures the handshake. After the handshake is captured, the attacker can crack the password by using brute force or dictionary text on the captured handshake file. McSkitty looks to Glitch and asks, "What kind of attack are you thinking of demonstrating, Glitch?" Glitch paces back and forth before coming to a sudden stop and says, "Today I'll be showing you how the WPA-WPA2 cracking attack works." As mentioned above, WPA cracking begins by listening to Wi-Fi traffic to capture the four-way handshake between a device and the access point. Since waiting for a device to connect or reconnect can take some time, the authentication packets are sent to disconnect a client, forcing it to reconnect and initiate a new handshake, which is captured. After the handshake is captured, the attacker can crack the password by using brute force or dictionary text on the captured handshake file. The four-way handshake. The WPA password cracking process involves capturing a Wi-Fi network's handshake to attempt a password decryption. First, an attacker places their wireless adapter into monitor mode to scan for networks, then targets a specific network to capture the four-way handshake. Once the handshake is captured, the attacker runs a brute force or dictionary attack using a tool like AirCrackNG to attempt to match a word list against a passphrase. The WPA four-way handshake is a process that helps a client device, like a phone or laptop, and a Wi-Fi router confirm they both have the right password or pre-shared key before securely connecting. Here's a simplified rundown of what happens. Router sends a challenge. The router or access point sends a challenge to the client, asking it to prove it knows the network's password without directly sharing it. The client responds with encrypted information. The client takes this challenge and uses the pre-shared key to create an encrypted response that only the router can verify if it also has the correct pre-shared key. The router verifies and sends confirmation. If the router sees the client's response matches what it expects, it knows the client has the right PS key. The router then sends its own confirmation back to the client. Final check and connection established. The client verifies the router's response, and if everything matches, they finish setting up a secure connection. The handshake doesn't directly reveal the PS key itself, but involves encrypted exchanges that depend on the PS key. The vulnerability lies in the fact that an attacker can capture this four-way handshake if the listening window of device connects. With the handshake data, they can use it as a basis to attempt offline brute force or dictionary attacks. Essentially, they try different possible passwords that test each one to see if it would produce the captured handshake data, eventually cracking the PS key if they get a match. On our current SSH connection, run the command iwdev. This will show any wireless devices in the configuration that we have available for use. Okay, so back up here, we need to SSH into the attack box, into the machine. So SSH glitch at 10.10.128.229. Yes for this, and then password 321. Okay, so we're now on the machine, and we enter in iwdev. The device interface WLAN2 is available to us, and there are two important details to take away from this output that will be useful to us. The address is MAC BSSID of our device. BSSID stands for Basic Service Set Identifier, and it's a unique identifier for a wireless device or access point's physical address. The type is shown as managed. This is the standard mode used by most Wi-Fi devices, like laptops, phones, etc., to connect to Wi-Fi networks. In managed mode, the device acts as a client, connecting to an access point to join a network. There's also another mode called monitor, which we will discuss shortly. Now we would like to scan for nearby Wi-Fi networks using our WLAN2 device. We can use sudo iw dev WLAN2 scan. So we'll do that, sudo iw dev WLAN2 scan. The dev WLAN2 specifies the wireless device you want to work with, and scan tells IW to scan the area for available Wi-Fi networks. So we've got one here. There's a lot of information to dissect here, but here are the most important details. BSSID and SSID of the device, 02 followed by a bunch of zeros, and malware MAP, respectively. Since the SSID is shown, this means the device is advertising a network name, which access points do to allow clients to discover and connect to the network. The presence of RSN, Robust Security Network, indicates the network is using WPA2, as RSN is a part of the WPA2 standard. WPA2 networks typically use RSN to define the encryption and authentication settings. The group and pairwise ciphers are CCMP with cipher block chaining. Message Authentication Code Protocol is the encryption method used by WPA2. the authentication suites. Value inside RSN is PSK, indicating that this is a WPA2 personal network where a shared password is used for authentication. Another important detail is the DS parameter set value, which shows channel 6. The channel in terms of Wi-Fi refers to a specific frequency range within the broader Wi-Fi spectrum that allows wireless devices to communicate with each other. There are various Wi-Fi channels, and they all help distribute network traffic across various frequency ranges, which reduces interference. The most common Wi-Fi channels are 2.4 GHz and 5 GHz. In the 2.4 GHz band, channels 1, 6, 11 are commonly used because they don't overlap, minimizing interference, and in the 5 GHz band, there are more channels available, allowing more networks to coexist without interfering. So now would be a good time to discuss another type that we can use on some wireless devices, monitor mode. This is a special mode primarily used for network analysis and security auditing. In this mode, the Wi-Fi interface listens to all network traffic on a specific channel, regardless of whether it is directed to the device or not. It passively captures all network traffic within range for analysis without joining a network. We want to check if our WLAN 2 interface can use monitor mode. To achieve this, we will run the command sudo ip link set dev WLAN 2 down, which will turn off the device. Then we'll switch modes with sudo iw WLAN 2 set type monitor, and now we'll do sudo ip link set dev WLAN 2 up. So now if we do sudo iw dev WLAN 2 info, we can see we're now in monitor mode. So let us create one more SSH session. We want to have 2 terminals in order to see clearly how the attack works. So we will create another window and we'll just put that here. And we need to SSH back in. So SSH glitch at 10.10.128.229 and password 321. So on the first terminal, we start capturing Wi-Fi traffic in the area. So we can do that with sudo airo dump-ng WLAN 2. This command provides a list of nearby Wi-Fi networks and shows important details like signal strength, channel, and encryption type. This information is already known to us from our previous commands. By default, airo-dump-ng will automatically switch the selected wireless interface into monitor mode if the interface supports it. The output reveals the information we already knew before, such as the BSSID, SSID, and the channel. However, in this particular output, we're also given the channel where our SSID is listening, channel 6. Now we'll focus on the malware AP access point and capture the WPA handshake. So we'll cancel that, and we'll now do sudo airo-dump-ng channel 6 and BSSID 0200000000, and we will output it to output-file and using WLAN 2. So we're targeting the specific network and MAC address of the access point for which you want to capture the traffic and save the information to a few files that start with the name output file. These files will be used to crack the PSK. The ultimate goal of this command is to capture the 4-way handshake. I'll first check for any clients that may be connected to the access point. If a client is already connected, then we can perform a deauthentication attack. Otherwise, for any new client that connects, we will capture the 4-way handshake. In this particular scenario, a client is already connected. The output will look the same as first until we receive the information about the connected client, which will be displayed at the bottom of our output. So it should take between 1 to 5 minutes before receiving the client information. In our case, it will show like this. So note the station section shows the device's BSSID that is connected to the access point. This is the connection that we will be attacking. Now we are ready for the next step. On the second terminal, we will launch the deauthentication attack. Because the client is already connected, we want to force them to reconnect. So we need to send deauthentication packets. The tool AirPlay-ng sends deauthentication packets to either a specific client or to all clients connected to an access point. These packets are essentially disconnect commands that force the client to drop its current Wi-Fi connection. When the client is disconnected, it automatically tries to reconnect, and during this reconnection, the client access point performs the 4-way handshake. So this is where airo-dump-ng comes into play because it will capture the handshake as it happens. So we will send in the other terminal sudo airreplay-ng-0 -1-a 02000000 and -c 0200000100 and WLAN 2. No such device. Okay, let's double check that we got the correct command. Okay, I might need to copy this command because that did look correct. So now we put it into the clipboard here and we paste it. There we go, that worked. So if we look back at our first terminal, we'll see the WPA handshake show on the top right of our output. which we can see here, and all this information is saved into our file. In the second terminal, we can use the capture WPA handshake to attempt to crack the WPA WP2 passphrase. We will be performing a dictionary attack in order to match the passphrase. We'll be using a word list file. The shortened version of the infamous rockq.txt word list has been provisioned for use, which is located in home glitch directory. So what we can do to try crack it, switch back to here, sudo air crack -ng -a2-b 02000000, and the word list is home glitch, then it's rockq.txt, and output *cap. So we now run that, and the key is found fluffy/champ2. So with the PS key, we can now join the malware MAP access point. In a typical engagement, we'll do this to inspect the new network, or in some cases, joining the access point is enough to show impact. So we are going to stop running area.ng here, and we are now going to do WPA passphrase malware m_ap. Then we will copy the key here, paste it in as our password here, and we are going to config. So let's do sudo WPA supplicant -b-c config-i wlan2. So it says successfully initialized. So if we did iwdev, and apparently it says we have now joined malware MAP SSID right there. So McSkitty looked in awe as Glitch flawlessly exposed a weakness in the Wi-Fi network. Glitch ponders and says, "That password is pretty weak, I must say. I wouldn't have been surprised if the mayor had already found a way in." McSkitty gets to work right away while Glitch thinks about what is next. Glitch stops and says, "I am ever curious if the mayor knows much about race conditions and how will that affect us." So now on to answering the questions. The BSS ID of our wireless device is this one, the one which doesn't have the 1 in it. Okay, that's not correct. Is it the one with the 1? No. I did it the wrong way round. Okay, apparently. Okay, what is ours? Yeah, it should be this one. Okay, well, we're just going to skip that for now. We'll go on to the next one. So the SSID and BSS ID of the access point. So malware AP, comma, then, because that is the BSS ID. Okay, so this. Okay, so 01 is the one that's already connected. Is 00 the access point? Okay, and then 02 must be our one. There we go. And what is the PS key? That is this. And that is all the questions answered. If you like this video, make sure to like and subscribe.